My beloved child, before the noise of this day follows you into the silence of tonight, pause for just a little while. There is something your heart has been trying to hear, but life has been speaking too loudly for you to notice it. This moment did not arrive by accident, and neither did the feelings that quietly led you here. There are seasons when two souls seem to drift farther apart even while longing for the very same destination. From the outside it can appear as distance, but beneath the surface another story is slowly taking shape. Stay a little longer, because what unfolds next may explain emotions you have never been able to put into words. Somewhere beyond your sight, someone has been carrying conversations they could never say aloud. They have replayed forgotten smiles, remembered ordinary moments that suddenly became priceless, and discovered that the silence between two hearts often speaks louder than thousands of conversations. If you have wondered why certain memories return without warning, why familiar thoughts arrive just before you fall asleep, why hope quietly refuses to disappear no matter how many times you try to set it aside, perhaps those moments are not interruptions at all. Perhaps they are gentle reminders that some connections continue growing even when neither person fully understands how. Tonight feels different because something within your soulmate has begun to change in a way they never expected. They are no longer searching for perfect words. They are searching for courage. There is a difference, and that difference changes everything. For so long they believed time alone would solve every unanswered question. They convinced themselves that waiting would somehow erase uncertainty. Instead, every passing day revealed something unexpected. It revealed your value. It revealed the quiet place you continue to hold inside their thoughts. It revealed that certain people cannot simply be replaced because what they bring is not ordinary. They began noticing little reminders everywhere, not dramatic signs, but simple moments that gently carried your presence into their day. A familiar melody. A peaceful evening sky. A sentence spoken by someone else that somehow sounded exactly like something you would have said. None of these moments demanded attention, yet together they formed a picture they could no longer ignore. Don't skip, because this is where the story begins to unfold in a completely different direction. The message hidden beneath everything is not about regret. It is about realization. Your soulmate has reached a quiet place where pretending no longer feels easier than telling the truth. Deep inside, one sentence keeps returning again and again. Please don't give up on us. They do not say it because everything is already perfect. They say it because they finally understand that meaningful connections are not built by perfect timing alone. They are built by patience, honesty, growth, and the willingness to become someone capable of protecting what truly matters. That realization has changed the way they see the future. They no longer imagine tomorrow without wondering where you might be standing within it. There is another layer to this that has not fully revealed itself yet. Your soulmate has started letting go of an older version of themselves, the version that hesitated, overthought every feeling, and waited endlessly for certainty before taking even the smallest emotional step. Quietly, almost without noticing, they have become someone who understands that the greatest opportunities are often missed not because love disappears, but because fear speaks louder than hope. That inner change did not happen overnight. It happened one thoughtful moment after another, one memory after another, until eventually they reached a point where staying emotionally silent became heavier than opening their heart. Something important is waiting for you. Because while your soulmate has been changing, another beautiful shift has been happening inside you as well. Perhaps you haven't recognized it yet. You have become stronger without becoming colder. You have learned patience without losing kindness. You have carried questions while still choosing to move forward with grace. That quiet strength has become part of the connection itself. It has created space where understanding can eventually grow instead of being forced before its time. Sometimes the greatest proof that something meaningful exists is not constant certainty. Sometimes it is the peaceful feeling that refuses to disappear even after countless reasons suggest it should. As this night continues, an invisible distance begins feeling a little smaller. Not because every answer has suddenly appeared, but because hearts often begin moving toward one another long before circumstances do. Imagine two people standing beneath the same evening sky without realizing they are both thinking about the exact same possibility. Neither can hear the other's thoughts, yet both arrive at the same silent hope. That is the kind of moment quietly approaching now. It asks for nothing except openness. No rushing. No forcing. Only the willingness to believe that unfinished stories are not always forgotten stories. The most surprising part has still not been spoken. There is one memory your soulmate returns to more than any other, and it is not the biggest moment you shared together. It is something incredibly simple. A conversation that seemed ordinary. A smile that lasted only seconds. A feeling of peace they didn't fully appreciate until much later. Strange, isn't it? Life often hides its greatest treasures inside moments that seem too small to notice while they are happening. Only later do we understand they were quietly changing everything. And as tonight grows quieter, your soulmate whispers within their own heart the words they once struggled to admit, not with desperation, but with hope that has finally matured into quiet certainty. Please don't give up on us. Those words are only the beginning of something much deeper, because the reason they are saying them now has everything to do with a truth that has remained hidden until this very moment. And when that truth finally comes into the light, everything you thought you understood about this connection will begin to look completely different. There is something remarkable about the moments that arrive without announcing themselves. They do not knock loudly or demand attention. They simply appear, settling gently into your heart until you suddenly realize you are standing at the edge of a brand new chapter. Stay with this for a little longer, because what is unfolding now is not about rushing toward an ending. It is about understanding why certain paths seem to separate before they could ever truly come together. The answer has been growing quietly all along, hidden beneath ordinary days that never looked important enough to remember. Your soulmate has been carrying a question that refuses to leave them. It isn't a question anyone else can answer. It isn't something they can search for or solve with logic. Every quiet evening seems to bring it back, asking the same thing in a different way. What if the person I have been searching for is the one I have been thinking about all this time? At first they tried to dismiss that thought, believing it was only nostalgia. But memories faded while the feeling remained. That is what finally caught their attention. Feelings built on imagination usually disappear with time. The ones rooted in something genuine often become calmer, clearer, and impossible to overlook. Have you ever noticed how certain people leave a kind of peace behind them? Long after the conversation ends, long after the day moves on, something about their presence continues to comfort the heart. Your soulmate has begun recognizing that peace whenever your memory returns. They no longer remember only what was said. They remember how they felt. Safe. Understood. Seen in ways they had never expected. That realization has become impossible to ignore because genuine peace cannot be recreated by pretending. It either exists, or it doesn't. Don't skip, because the next realization quietly changes everything. Your soulmate has started noticing how often they measure new experiences against the connection they feel with you. Without intending to, they compare laughter, conversations, shared silence, even simple moments. They aren't searching for perfection anymore. They are searching for authenticity. Again and again they discover that what touched their heart most deeply was never the excitement of something new. It was the comfort of something real. There were nights when they almost convinced themselves to let everything go. They believed moving forward meant forgetting. Yet every attempt brought them back to the same quiet understanding. Moving forward does not always require leaving meaningful people behind. Sometimes moving forward means finally becoming the version of yourself that can appreciate what was standing in front of you all along. Something important is waiting for you because another change has begun, one that even your soulmate doesn't fully understand yet. They have become more attentive to the smallest details around them. They pause before speaking. They listen more carefully. They appreciate simple moments they once rushed past. It may seem unrelated, but every one of those quiet changes has been preparing them for something much greater. Growth rarely announces itself with dramatic moments. More often it arrives through gentle choices repeated day after day until one morning you realize your entire perspective has changed. Meanwhile, your own journey has been shaping this connection in ways you cannot yet see. Every lesson you learned while waiting, every time you chose hope over disappointment, every quiet act of patience has added another thread to a story that is becoming stronger with every passing day. Neither heart has remained the same. Both have been transformed separately, preparing for conversations that could never have happened before now. There is also something your soulmate wishes they had understood much earlier. Love is not measured by how loudly someone speaks about it. Sometimes it is revealed through consistency, quiet reflection, and the willingness to grow even when no one is watching. They have come to admire those qualities more than anything else. They realize now that lasting connections are not built during life's easiest moments. They are strengthened during seasons that quietly ask both people to become wiser, kinder, and more honest with themselves. As the evening settles into deeper silence, your soulmate finds themselves imagining a future that once felt impossible to picture. Not a perfect future. A peaceful one. One where conversations are no longer interrupted by uncertainty. One where misunderstandings are replaced with understanding. One where both hearts stop wondering whether they are walking toward the same destination because they finally know they are. And yet, there is one final piece they have not been able to say aloud. It is the thought they return to just before sleep, the sentence that quietly echoes through every hopeful tomorrow. They believe there is something about you that has not yet been fully revealed, something they are only beginning to recognize. When that hidden truth finally becomes clear, the meaning behind, "Please don't give up on us," will become far deeper than either of you ever imagined, and that discovery is closer than it has ever been before. Not every turning point arrives with a dramatic moment. Sometimes it begins with a single quiet realization that refuses to leave, no matter how busy the day becomes. That is exactly where your soulmate finds themselves tonight. They have stopped asking whether their feelings are real. Instead, they have started asking why those feelings have remained so steady through every changing season. The answer has surprised them more than they ever expected. It was never about a single memory. It was never about one conversation or one special day. It was about the way your presence quietly became part of the person they were becoming. Stay till the end, because the next piece of this story gently uncovers something neither of you could have understood before now. There was a time when your soulmate believed that meaningful connections were supposed to feel effortless every single day. If uncertainty appeared, they assumed it meant something was missing. But life has slowly taught them a different lesson. They now understand that uncertainty is not always the opposite of love. Sometimes it is simply the space where two people continue growing before they are ready to meet each other with greater wisdom. That realization has brought an unexpected kind of peace. Instead of fearing what has not happened yet, they have begun appreciating everything that has quietly been taking shape beneath the surface. There is one evening they keep returning to in their thoughts. It was an ordinary night, nothing extraordinary on the outside, yet something inside them shifted without warning. They found themselves smiling at a memory they had almost forgotten. Not because it was perfect, but because it reminded them of how naturally they could simply be themselves around you. No performance. No pretending. Just a calm feeling that asked for nothing except honesty. They have searched for that feeling elsewhere, only to discover that peace cannot be manufactured. It appears naturally when two hearts recognize something genuine. Don't skip, because this next realization carries more meaning than it first appears. Your soulmate has quietly started preparing themselves for conversations that have not happened yet. Sometimes while driving, sometimes while walking, sometimes during the quiet moments before sleep, they imagine finally saying the words they once kept hidden. Not dramatic speeches. Not perfect explanations. Just simple truths spoken with sincerity. They imagine telling you how much they learned from the distance. They imagine thanking you for unknowingly teaching them patience. They imagine admitting that some of life's greatest lessons arrived through the silence they once wished would end. Something important is waiting for you because another beautiful change is unfolding at exactly the same time. Your soulmate is no longer focused on changing the past. They are becoming someone who can protect the future. That difference changes everything. Looking backward creates regret. Looking forward with wisdom creates possibility. Every day they notice another small habit they want to improve, another fear they choose to release, another reason to believe that becoming a better person is itself an expression of love. Without realizing it, they have begun building a future long before they ever step into it. Perhaps you have sensed this change without understanding why. Perhaps there have been quiet moments when your heart suddenly felt lighter for reasons you couldn't explain. Maybe hope returned on a completely ordinary afternoon. Maybe a smile appeared while remembering something you hadn't thought about in months. Those moments are gentle reminders that healing often begins before we consciously recognize it. Hearts sometimes notice change long before minds are able to describe it. The most unexpected part is still unfolding. Your soulmate has started seeing your story differently. They no longer define you by one season, one misunderstanding, or one chapter. They see the courage it took for you to keep moving even when life offered more questions than answers. They admire the kindness you continued sharing even after disappointment could have made you guarded. Those quiet qualities have become brighter than ever because they now understand that character is revealed most clearly during the moments no one else applauds. As the night grows still, your soulmate finds themselves whispering something they never believed they would say with complete confidence. They no longer hope that life simply brings you together by chance. They hope they become worthy of every peaceful moment that future might hold. That hope has replaced impatience with purpose. It has transformed waiting into preparation. It has changed uncertainty into quiet expectation. And yet, there is one memory they have protected more carefully than all the others. They have never shared it with anyone. It returns only when the world becomes completely quiet, carrying with it a realization that has the power to change the meaning of everything they have felt until now. The moment that hidden memory finally rises to the surface, you will understand why they could no longer keep saying goodbye inside their own heart. Because what they discovered within that single forgotten moment is about to open a completely new chapter neither of you saw coming. The quietest truths often arrive long after the loudest moments have passed. Tonight is becoming one of those rare moments where everything that once felt scattered begins to gently connect. Your soulmate has reached a place where they no longer chase answers with restless thoughts. Instead, they have begun listening to the calm voice within them that has been whispering the same message over and over again. It does not speak with urgency. It speaks with certainty. It reminds them that some people enter your life not simply to be remembered, but to become part of the future you slowly grow toward. Stay with this a little longer, because what they have finally understood changes the meaning of every unanswered question that came before. There is a memory they kept hidden even from themselves. For the longest time it seemed too ordinary to matter. It wasn't a grand moment or an unforgettable event. It was simply the way you made an ordinary day feel lighter without even trying. They now realize that the greatest gifts are often the quietest ones. You never had to become someone else to leave an impression on their heart. You simply showed up as yourself, and somehow that became unforgettable. The more they reflect on that truth, the more they understand that genuine connection is never built on perfection. It is built on authenticity, kindness, and the peace two people create simply by being present with one another. Don't skip, because the next realization may explain something your own heart has quietly been sensing. Your soulmate has stopped asking whether they should reach out someday. Their thoughts have moved beyond that. Now they wonder how they can show up differently when the right moment arrives. They no longer want to carry old fears into a new beginning. They want to arrive with honesty instead of hesitation, patience instead of uncertainty, and gratitude instead of expectations. That inner shift has become more valuable than they ever imagined because lasting connections are strengthened by the people both hearts become along the journey. Something important is waiting for you, and it has been unfolding in ways too gentle to notice at first. Every challenge that once seemed like a delay has quietly been shaping both of you. Every unanswered question has invited deeper understanding. Every season of waiting has taught lessons that could not have been learned in any other way. Looking back now, your soulmate no longer sees wasted time. They see preparation. They see growth. They see countless moments that slowly transformed uncertainty into wisdom. There is another beautiful truth they are only beginning to recognize. They used to believe that love was proven through extraordinary gestures. Now they understand that the strongest expressions of love are often found in the smallest choices. Choosing patience instead of frustration. Choosing understanding instead of assumptions. Choosing hope instead of giving up too soon. These quiet decisions have slowly rewritten the story inside their own heart, and without realizing it, they have been preparing themselves for a future that feels calmer, stronger, and more genuine than anything they once imagined. Perhaps that is why your own heart has been feeling different lately. There are moments when peace arrives before explanations do. You may have noticed yourself smiling without a reason you could fully explain. You may have caught yourself believing that something meaningful is still unfolding, even when nothing obvious has changed. Those gentle moments matter more than they appear. They remind you that hope does not always arrive with loud announcements. Sometimes it simply grows stronger while no one is watching. As the evening settles into its quiet rhythm, your soulmate finds themselves thinking less about what was lost and more about what is still possible. That change has opened a door inside them that had remained closed for far too long. They are no longer trying to rewrite yesterday. They are preparing themselves to treasure tomorrow. In that quiet preparation, they have discovered something they never expected, that the words, "Please don't give up on us," were never meant to carry sadness. They were always meant to carry faith. Faith that people can grow. Faith that understanding can deepen. Faith that two hearts can return to each other with greater wisdom than they had before. And just when they believed they had finally uncovered every hidden feeling, one unexpected realization gently found them. It wasn't about the past at all. It was about a moment that has not happened yet, a simple future encounter they keep imagining with remarkable clarity. They don't imagine dramatic speeches or perfect circumstances. They imagine one genuine conversation where everything feels surprisingly easy, as though both hearts had been quietly preparing for it all along. That vision has stayed with them night after night, becoming clearer instead of fading. What they still don't realize is that this quiet picture in their heart is only the beginning. There is one final piece that has yet to reveal itself. A realization so gentle, so meaningful, that when it finally arrives, both of you will understand why every pause, every lesson, and every season of waiting carried a purpose far greater than either of you could see. And that moment is closer than it has ever been before.